the sweet smell of freedom. Smells like fish.
But yeah, sorry to keep y'all waiting, but the channel has kind of been on the verge of termination for the past 3 weeks due to a ton of copyright strikes. I actually had to write up counter notifications for 44 videos and then wait about 10 business days before YouTube revoked the strikes. Moreover, since they didn't just do the crazy thing and file all of them at once, I had to wait on certain videos longer than others.
As of the time of this recording, I technically still have one strike left because they rejected my initial counter for it, so I just resent it almost exactly the same as the first one, and then they accepted it a couple days later.
Still, the most important thing now is that we're out of the 3 strike zone, because when you do have 3 strikes, YouTube will not only start to terminate your channel, they'll also move you down in the algorithm, and even block creators from even uploading videos altogether. I mean, honestly, I could care less about the revenue I make from these videos, it's a nice bonus and everything, but more than anything, I just want to have an outlet where I can express myself like an artist, but yet this website constantly seems to be taking away canvases for no good reason.
I mentioned this before, but it does seem like in all likelihood, those were false claims by someone impersonating Toy. And I only bring this up because it seems like the situation has only gotten worse, and of course YouTube is doing nothing.
If you know any anime YouTubers who have reasonable doubt that they were given legitimate claims, I do suggest you encourage them to fight it.
I know I wouldn't have done it if y'all had not spurred me on, because frankly, I'm just not that brave of a person. I'm kind of a pushover, so when it seemed like it really was Toy trying to take down my videos, I was just about ready to give up. In hindsight, obviously, it was a good idea to fight against it, because that wasn't actually Toy and everything, but still, I was really just about ready to give up. But then all of y'all told me that I should stand up for myself, and then I realized I have to do that because this channel isn't my Asian zone, it's all of ours. It's something that we've built together, and if I can't defend that, then what have I been doing for the past few years? And y'all have just had such a passion for the shows I've reviewed, and I really didn't think it would come this far, and I can't express how much I really appreciate that. It's been quite the journey, and while it will eventually end, I'm sure I'm gonna become much more of a busy uncle in the next few years, but still, I think we should try and ride this out as long as possible and just not let it die out from something as stupid as someone claiming to be a big company, because I know at some point the real big company is going to come for me, and when that happens, well, we'll see what happens, but at the same time, I want to be able to make this channel something for all of y'all to watch and enjoy, and have some place to discuss stuff like Precure, Powerpuff Girls Z, and Doremi. So, yeah, I'm glad that you all talked me into doing it, and I will just always be grateful to all of you. So, thank you so much. Can you tell I just kind of ad-libbed all of that?
Also, during this time, I did encourage y'all to subscribe to my secondary channel, which I ended up not using much of because I thought I might get into some additional trouble for breaking my parole or something. Still, we may as well not let it go to waste, so maybe I'll start posting some non-magical girl and toy-related videos so as not to upset this messy algorithm. So do expect maybe something on the community tab later this week where I'll gauge what y'all might want me to cover. As for the backlog, we are slowly starting to trickle it in, as we don't want to overload y'all. Perfect timing anyway, as Tropical Rouge is on hiatus due to the Olympics.
Now for videos I'm currently working on, I finally started work on my big toy lead character analysis video, where I'll take a look at what I think makes for a good main protagonist in a toy show, as well as the review of a certain movie from last year that'll come out in just later this week, I think. Though on that note, let's just take a little break before we get into the analysis of the trailer for this year's Precure film, with a very similar concept.
Earlier this week, Toei announced their next Precure film with this poster, as well as 2 trailers on their Precure YouTube channel. Yeah, for whatever reason, they released both their actual first trailer, as well as what I think is the teaser trailer that might have been previewed in the cinemas or other sources.
Not sure why they didn't just release this teaser a few weeks or even months before the first actual trailer, as it just reveals the title and doesn't even spoil the big surprise they had waiting in the wings.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that was my first reaction when I first saw this, but then I stopped and thought for a few minutes and... Wait, didn't we do this last year? And why them exactly?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Heartcatch Precure. I've gone on record to say it's one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite series in this franchise, but what about this team exactly matches up with the Tropical Rouge team? It's the same issue myself and many others felt with last year's film, in that while the Yes team are great, thematically, Splash Star would have been a much more appropriate series to go with Healing Good, as they're both nature-themed shows.
In the case of Tropical Rouge, I personally would have said either Smile, since totally they are similar, both being shows that came right after some real-world disasters, or, and I'm not just saying this because I'm currently reviewing it, Gold Princess, since it does have the OG Cure Mermaid.
Even more so when you factor in this film and its spotlight movie character. But yeah, on that note, maybe we should just take a look at the trailer, and perhaps they'll be able to sell me on this slightly mismatched team-up. We open on a smiling Manatsu, and right off the bat, I can tell Ken Ueno is animating this one. Seriously, I didn't even have to look it up. I could just tell Mr. Lines was the animation director here.
I mean, I absolutely love his work, and have no doubt that he'll be able to put together some great action scenes, but I do fear that one day he'll make his outlines so thick that they'll start engulfing the world around us.
Anyway, they were all excited because they were going to a frozen kingdom, which of course made me think about Elsa, and I was kidding!
For God's sakes, Kingdom Hearts 3 reminded me of that stupid song, so don't make me remember it again!
Anyway, Snow Mika here was named Sharon, who yes, is going to be the celebrity guest role, though she does have a few notable voice acting roles like in Final Fantasy with Riku and no, not that one, there you go. And as we later see in the trailer, she was an old fan of Laura's, having both been prospective queen candidates. So, okay, now we can definitely tell we're not dealing with Disney princesses.
I mean, not unless Ariel and Elsa actually do accept their titles of queen, which, let's face it, the odds of that happening are lower than Toei ever getting around to firing some of their more problematic producers.
However, for every cute little snowman, hopefully not voiced by unfunny comedians, there were some marshmallows, and yes, that was the name of this guy. But yeah, these monsters, whom I'm sure are just coincidentally being controlled by a similar purple glow as Sharon's staff, were going to be the main monsters to be dealt with by the Tropical Rouge and Heartcatch teams, who of course were being led by this meme factory. Appropriately, some of the animation here reminded me of the fashion show in the Flower Capital, since Ueno did also direct the animation for that film.
Okay, if we could get another Erika face like this, then I'm all in.
And I will admit, one thing that works for me in this crossover are the similar designs between the teams, most notably Manatsu and Tsubomi's giant ponytails, making for some good asymmetric symmetry. Interesting, considering both characters were designed by 2 different people with 2 very different aesthetics. Also, I'm not exactly sure why they're doing a double hip attack.
Sorry girls, but even if your whole team's joined in, we all know Rika has the best one that will never be topped.
It's also here that we learned about Laura being friends with Shannon, and I'm assuming the latter is either going to be captured in this film, or, and let's face it, is more likely going to turn out to be the big twist villain of this film, because that's what both Precure and Disney films like to do a lot. Cliches aside, I am at least interested in seeing how this affects Laura.
Especially when you consider Laura could have easily become a villainess herself.
I mean, as much as we have liked her from the very beginning, let's also be honest, Laura was not a good person in episode 1 of this series.
Had she not met the Precure and later joined their ranks, I think chances were good that she might have joined Sharon. Again, that is if she becomes the big bad of this film, which I'm willing to put money on.
As someone who enjoys stories of protagonists dealing with dark reflections of what they could have become had circumstances been different, I will admit I'm already intrigued by this plot should they follow my crazy conspiracy theories.
And let's admit, we all kind of wanted to see what a truly evil Laura would have been like. Close, but no cigar.
The last part of this trailer featured some team bonding, and again, I'll admit, a meme face-off between Erika and Laura is something I really want to see.
And considering this was written by Yoshimi Narita, I'm expecting a ham-off that could challenge Travolta and Cage in Face Off.
That, and I would also like to see Tsubomi and Manatsu work off each other, because that's just some prime opportunity for some good odd couple writing. Following this, we also got to see the big MacGuffin of this film, which will also happen to be the bonus cinema item, the Snow Hearticle Ring.
Get it? Because it's a combination of heart and tropical. Even though it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. Hearticle, Ow, bit my tongue.
But yeah, I'm guessing since the Rio Byogans is still kind of a thing, especially in Japan, they still don't want kids to stand up to wave their flashlights around, which, just putting aside my issues with the light, I do agree they should do this instead, based on the grounds of safety at the very least.
Still, as the awkwardness of the knockoff Infinity Ring suggests, I'm still not totally sold on this crossover.
I mean, while there are aspects that do kind of work, like the coincidentally similar designs and the meme factor, thematically, the Heartcatch team just kind of feel like add-ons for this film's plot. None of their adventures involve frozen kingdoms or princesses, so why not get the princess team involved again, I ask?
Why are we just ignoring this show? I mean, what is this, a popularity contest and... Oh.
Yes, I am of the strong belief that this series, and yes, Precure from last year, were picked specifically for these crossover films because of the NHK polls from a few years ago. There, the overall three statistically were Yes, Heartcatch, and the OG, and considering they've already overbuilt the OG nostalgia, I guess they figured they may as well go for the next best things.
Thus, as I always say, I totally understand why they did this. It's just business.
The old teams still have a lot of name value and are almost guaranteed to put butts in seats. It's the same thing the WWE does constantly whenever they bring back relics from the Attitude Era, and considering how much the real-life Byokins took a chunk out of everyone's wallets, then I do understand.
That said, this is going to be the second year in a row when we get no solo films, and by extension, yet another year where a Reiwa-era Precure team isn't allowed to just stand on their own.
Yeah, while I've been saying I would have preferred a Gold Princess crossover, truth is, I think what this series really needed was just a solo film. And yet, by the end of this year, they're just gonna have a short film and a crossover, and I get it, a lot of this was out of their hands, but at the same time, I am concerned that this is just going to bury the Reiwa-era Precure if they constantly look back to the past for support and end up downplaying the current series as a result. And considering that it's become quite the habit for Toei in regards to Super Sentai and how it's affected their toy sales in recent years, I do fear for the longevity of this franchise as well. There are only so many times you can play the nostalgia card before you start making even the old teams look bad.
Bottom line, I do hope that the next series is at least allowed one solo film, and I can't believe they're bringing Goldberg back for SummerSlam. Yeah, I know that kind of came out of nowhere, but I just had to say it.
Still, what y'all think? Are you excited for this? And do you think the Heartcatch team is actually a good match for this very sunny team? Okay, Itsuki kind of works. Or would you prefer a different team or even a solo film? Let me know in the comments.
Once again, it's good to be back, and thank you so much for sticking it out with me. And until next time though, farewell for now my friends, and excuse me. Oh, sorry, I have to go pick up my niece. Hello? Yeah, I'm going now. Say, does she want to watch anything special on Disney Plus? Anything else? Please.